Morning. How we doing? Let me give me 1 second. Mic check. Volume check. Oh, volume sounds good. For some reason, why I can't get my chat up on. Can't get my chat up on the spot. All right, can't imagine I'm going to get many people tuning in this morning anyway. Market is dead. It's a Monday morning. So usually my Monday morning streams are very quiet anyway, let alone bringing it onto Twitch as well. So I'll just sit here and basically gonna just go through my my general like Monday morning routine, how I essentially like approach the chart on a Monday, how I like refresh my watch list and then like identify some potential setups for the week ahead. So I don't often take trades on a Monday, at least not in the first 12 hours. So that gives me some time to just like run over charts, see what's happened last week, like check our weekly closes, some daily closes. Also, like I don't often check price action much over the weekend, so it's obviously good to go and see what's happened over the weekend and you know, monitor any current positions that I have open. So I'll discuss sort of my ETH short that I'm in right now, which almost got taken out on the weekend, like basically low lick weekend move and then just got sold off. So short remains intact, which is nice, but overall this is kind of becoming more of a an ag holding this than I intended it to be. Like it just monitoring this is kind of annoying and it's not playing out as fast as I hoped. Overall, I do think that like ETH is super weak, and without BTC and essentially the strength we're seeing right now and this just like constant grind up, I'm pretty sure ETH would have collapsed by now, in my opinion. There's no doubt about that. So it's basically getting held up by BTC, but you know, the game's the game. We can't worry too much about other factors. We'll just focus on what we can see. So yeah, usually my Monday mornings, because I use VWAPs, often I have to refresh sort of prior weekly values and update prior weekly values, which I haven't done yet, which I've been saving to do it for the stream. So you know, we can see, let's start off with this chart because we can see prior weekly value right now on BTC. We are trading within that prior weekly value, back below the prior weekly value very high. We sort of had that break above it into the weekly open, but since then has rejected. Yeah, we just had this we just sort of had that move up over the weekend, and then as soon as the weekly opened and more volume started to come back into the market, we just got slammed back down essentially. Didn't even sweep that high from last week, so the high still remains around 79,500. So we essentially have some like equal highs left on BTC up here into 79k, but we are back within the prior weekly value. So until we get like a break above here or a break below here, essentially expect we're back within this chop and within this balance. Not expecting too much to happen. When you look at ETH, like I was posting this in the group in the Discord this morning, I was just sort of discussing ETH and the price action on it right now. Outside of essentially outside of 3 moves where we've deviated from this price, we've been trading at 2,300 now for basically 2 weeks. And you can see that the vast majority of this trading has just been happening here. Like we've essentially been trading within a 1.3, 1.5% range on ETH for 2 weeks, minus the 2 or 3 pumps we had, 2 which were basically going into the weekend or on the weekend. So yeah, the ETH PA has been pretty shit. I mean, BTC is been kind of when was that from? That was from the 14th of April. See on like BTC in general has been doing all right. We had sort of last week we had that push up on BTC where we actually broke the high it made, whereas ETH has really been struggling to make the high it made on the 17th of April. Which is why I believe, ETH is a lot weak, right? We can essentially see right now since that high, we've been making lower highs on ETH. Meanwhile, BTC has actually been making what was a higher high, but now just still a lower high. So potentially this was a sign of maybe there's some weakness stepping in on BTC. The fact that we couldn't push to a higher high, like what we've been doing pretty consistently over this move up. We've been driving, right? And then putting in a low, higher low, and then higher high, higher low, higher high, high, low, high, high, higher low, right? And now we're starting to make sort of like a lower high. So this could be something for us to consider this week. For the first time in a while, we've sort of attempted to break a high and failed and fell short of that. So I mean, ETH, like I just said, ETH has been doing pretty consistently over the past couple weeks, and why I believe there is a lot of weakness from ETH right now. And why I do still remain short on this. Hi, Dave. Good morning. Thank you for getting my numbers up from a whole 2 people. I don't expect many people on Monday mornings anyway. It's always very quiet, especially through the EU session. Let's go back to the levels because I sort of went off on a tangent, but yeah, BTC trading within the prior weekly value. As of right now, obviously we haven't like 3 days, so 4 days. The monthly close is on Thursday, so Thursday night we'll get some fresh VWAP bands. As of right now, obviously we are trading into April, which is the start of Q2, and obviously April is the start of the month as well. So we have basically identical monthly and quarterly developing bands right now. So once we close out the April month, we'll get some fresh bands to work with, and that always gives us some better opportunities to trade with. In fact, that will be the almost the first time where the VWAP will get a bunch of different VWAP bands, because this is the first month where the quarterly and the yearly are different. So basically this whole year we've been trading with only 3 VWAP bands, but going into May, it will be the first month of the year where we can utilize the yearly, the quarterly, the monthly, and the weekly VWAP bands all together, which is great. Obviously, having 4 VWAP bands to work with rather than the 3 that we have been working with for the first 4 months of the year is obviously very beneficial to us. Like, it gives us more trade opportunities, it gives us more confluences to work with, more levels to work with, right? So I'm looking forward to May onwards, and that's the same case for sort of like my weekly VWAP, right? It's hard to use on a Monday, but as soon as you sort of get into the end of the week, you get more trade opportunities, and the same with the monthly VWAP band as well. So that's great. We're going to have lots of opportunities, especially when it comes down to like altcoins and shorting the top gainers on the altcoins. There's far more values to work with and short those top gainers, which as of lately have been paying out quite well. So we're going to be taking a look at some top gainers this morning and seeing if there's any short positions we can take. Yeah, when it comes down to ETH bi-weekly values, let's take a look. So yeah, obviously I just discussed that we've basically been in a 2-week range for or we've been in this like 1.5% range for 2 weeks now. And you know, you can see that the VWAP values are very similar. Like the VWAP from 2 weeks ago is basically identical as the one from last week. So overall, I think, you know, this week it remains the key level for me. Last week, 2.330s to 2.340s was basically the level I was looking to reject. And like I said, we had that pretty lower liquid. Like that wick on Coinbase is quite rare. It's definitely a sign of a liquid movement in the order books, especially on a Coinbase pair. You know, on ETH to do something like that is pretty rare. So there was definitely low volumes over the weekend, and one of the main reasons why ETH had that push up. We can actually take a look at the flow. Hi Trues. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Let's take a look. Let me just take a look at the ETH flow quickly. So yeah, we had a lot of that move up from the 26th through till the 27th. A lot of that move up was shorts getting taken out on ETH. So basically from this break here to here, we saw a decent amount of OI get pulled off on ETH. In fact, I can probably show you. Give me 1 second. Sec. Okay, yeah, you should see it. So you can see here from the 26th through till the 27th. So essentially the daily open, right? We can see a decent amount of OI getting taken off, a pretty negative funding, and price is increasing. So there's definitely a sign of like shorts getting taken out, and then you can almost see long start to pile in, right? Which is classic on straight into the weekly open. Following the weekly opens, you can see funding is increasing, price is increasing. You know, decent amount of short licks get taken out into that high. My stop on my short was 411, so I almost got taken out myself. But yeah, pretty, like, I don't like to say manipulative move, like the market moves the way it does for many reasons, but this was obviously a short squeeze taking place. With a decent amount of shorts getting taken into the highs. We can see the on Binance 6.3k ETH shorts getting taken out into the highs, and then you can see, you know, someone starts buying into here, like someone starts longing into here, funding is increasing, and then, you know, you just get that flush, like essentially stalled and flushed out. So pretty dirty move for a weekend going into the weekly open. Kind of a, like I said, a bit of a manipulative move to take some shorts out on a low liquidity weekend. and it nearly got me. So thankfully I survived, and I still remain short on ETH. But yeah, we just need to break from this like big volume node area now, which is quite difficult. You know, this week on ETH, as long as we remain below 2340 again, I'm pretty sure we can basically roll. So I'm monitoring the situation. That's kind of became like a troll, but now I've been using it as an actual phrase because that's kind of how it is. But like monitoring the fact that if we start to flip here, I will probably exit my short. We should realistically reject from 2337 again. Like you can see how we're trading back within this developing monthly value and also the developing quarterly value. The only thing is obviously we're holding above the developing yearly VWAP, the prior quarterly VWAP, and also the developing quarterly VWAP. So if we break that 2300 area, if we can finally close below 2300, I'm fairly sure we get a huge retracement from ETH and take out a lot of this move. But again, it's really going to come down to BTC and the strength BTC has this week. Considering if the strength is still there, I wouldn't be surprised to see that it was actually MicroStrategy buying last week. I can't remember. I think if they were buying, it's announced today, if I remember correctly. So it'd be interesting to see that as soon as the SDLC bid stops, MicroStrategy say they just started buying through MicroStrategy, right? So another thing is that we have a divergence up here on the Z score. Pretty nasty one actually, almost like a 3 drive into the highs, right? 1, 2, 3, and then divergence. So pretty nasty. It is obviously very possible that you can like see a divergence and price just continue to grind up. So I'm very wary of that, but for now, a little bit cautious of BTC. Yeah, BTC didn't sweep the high either. Okay, now so that's sort of like my general thought process of how I approach like my Mondays. Like it's kind of the same process every Monday. I approach them. The charts, I sort of analyze what I might have missed over the weekend and overall like the positions that I'm in, which is my current only active position is that ETH. They got you, Trues? Yeah. It was pretty scammy, to be honest. Oh, can no one hear my music? Oh, is my music quite quiet? That should be better now. It's always the same though, like they run it up on like on a Sunday or whatever, you know, run it down on a Sunday, like low liquid markets on the weekend, so low volumes. $79.2 as well. Yeah, that's annoying. Oh, I didn't actually tweet I was live. Give me a sec. I forgot. I'm not very good at this whole social media thing. Oh, you've done it for me, Dave? Thank you. Okay, right. So let's go on to like sort of my next process. what I do on the Mondays, and that's basically going over my watch list. So my watch list is fairly organized. I have like some like stocks or indexes that I watch most of the time. My AMT bag is absolutely flying. This is one of my funny enough, my two best trades over the past year have, outside of like futures, I guess, like I have been my AMD bag, which I bought back in February into the lows when the war stuff was going on, which is now up 80%, and gold. But obviously ice, it was silver actually. I sold silver into 50, so it was a major fumble, but still. I don't think I actually bought gold. I think it was just silver. But I sold it into 50, so tells you the state of crypto, right? As a trader, majority of the time, my AMT and silver bags were my best performers over the past year. So that's the state of crypto. Yeah, so basically I have like my indexes and some stocks I watch here and there, also like things I'm holding. Then I have like BTC and basically like your general main coins that like people like to watch. You know, you got like Bonk and Pepe, Doge, ETH, Hype, Litecoin, Monad, Fartcoin, Pump Fund, Sol, Tau, like the general coins that most people like to watch, I guess. Sorry, I had to sneeze. And then or things that just trade a bit nicer than your scam coins. And then what I have towards my bottom end of the list is often coins that have caught my attention, or I was looking for a trade, and coins I'm watching for the week. So Genius has actually been something I'm watching. So, you know, one of the newer coins like Binance listings. I've been discussing these a little bit with Flex from the Discord, and we've been like sort of discovering that often you get like a coin listing, right? You get like some sort of scam pump, and there's essentially like two things that can happen to these coins. The first one is that the scam pump just moves into what is essentially a death spiral, where the coins just do something like this. And a great example of that is XPL, right? This is kind of the first one that comes to my head. In fact, if we're talking about early days XPL, this is actually a really good example. Okay, so you essentially had, right, this listing, you had the listing pump, and then you had this drop, right? So obviously XPL went onto that death spiral later down the line. But what you did have was this break. Like from the listing pump, you essentially had like a support that held for a consistent period of time. In fact, this was essentially, you know, basically a month where the support held, and then you can see that, you know, we got a breakout and price like really legged up, and then from there we went into the death spiral. Doesn't help that this was in September and the market topped into sort of October. Obviously, like it wasn't the best time for that sort of a play, but the point is often you'll find is when you get these new listing pumps, as long as they sort of hold their support in the listing area, and it doesn't like lock in a deviation below that and it will go into like a death spiral, there's a good opportunity that they can break out, right? If you sort of like compare this XPL, early XPL PA to, let's say, Genius. Let's go on a clean. Yo. So Genius is actually on very very thin ice here, but you can kind of see my point. This is actually a really good example. I just thought about it off the top. You know, the differences here kind of, I mean, you could say that they're kind of similar. How many days is this? 11. So yeah. But can you see, like, you sort of have a listing pump, and then they go into, and then they form some sort of range. And there's essentially two things that is going to happen here. The first one is that if Genius is just a complete scam coin, as most coins are nowadays, this can go into just a death spiral, and it will just constantly bleed out like this forever and for eternity until it ever gets delisted again. The opposing option is that, you know, it does hold this area, right? And we go into some sort of range, and at some point we get a breakout above here. You could essentially either buy the flip here, right, and target here and a breakout, or you could buy the breakout, which when these coins do go, they often don't really give a clean retest, right? You can see here another example was Siren, which obviously had that crazy scam bump, but very similar sort of breakout, right? You can see here, same sort of thing, right? Listing had that listing pump, sold off, consolidated for a bit, eventually got a breakout, and then it just went on to go on a crazy run, right? There's many examples of this. So this is kind of why I'm watching Genius here, because there is potential for this to go on a bit of a breakout and a bit of like a spree higher. So that'd be really interesting to monitor that. Hi, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Yeah, finally back on Twitch and YouTube. We'll try and get into the routine of making it a weekly thing again when I can. I was in London yesterday, and the last train back to my house was like 6 p.m. or something. I don't know when it was, and we literally had to sprint for the train. And I was literally thinking, I was like, oh, this is the first. I like planned this Twitch stream last week. I was like, it's the first Twitch stream I'm planning on doing, and it's sod's law that I'm actually not going to be able to make it. Like, if I hadn't made the train, we wouldn't have been able to get train till 6:30 a.m. the next morning, so we would have been kind of screwed. There was a bunch of people on the stairs, like it was just so busy at the station because the London Marathon was on yesterday, and I'm not a rude person. I was saying sorry, but I was barging past these people trying to make the train, and then I fell on the stairs. It was a fucking whole thing. I fell up the stairs because I was barging past people. Yeah, absolutely scenes. It was not ideal. Did not enjoy it. Literally made our train by 2 minutes. So it was lucky I made the stream, because nearly didn't. I could turn up for my whole 10 viewers. Yeah, I went to watch the marathon. We knew some people running in it, so we went up to watch, support and stuff. Pretty cool, actually. Those two guys broke the sub 2 mark. Man, I saw them going past. It was actually mental. Like, you can't believe the speed they're running at. They averaged like 21k an hour, which is just mad. Like, I saw them run past, and it was unreal the speed they were going. How long have I been trading? uh 5 since COVID summer. So trading, I'm not sure, but like I got into crypto in COVID summer, so 2020. Almost yeah, so almost 6 years since when I bought my first Bitcoin. Crazy. Weather is lovely at the moment. Great weather at the moment. SPX. Let's see. Yeah, I was looking at SPX last week. I mean, it's fucking typical, isn't it, that the long I was looking at playing happened on a Sunday. Oh, whatever. Yeah, 3.6 was the long. That's where I wanted to long last week. Waited all week for that as well. Sweep into 3.6. Bounce. 16% bounce. Yeah, last week was a week to forget for me. Like, I had so many trades that just like front run my level by just a bit, or just like little niche things that was happening that was like, I'm getting to me. But what do I think of SPX now? Within prior weekly value. Still looks alright. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's still trading above the yearly VWAP and the prior quarterly VWAP, the developer monthly and quarterly value area high. Nasty rejection though. You could probably try a long at 3.7 again this week. I might watch it for a sweep under there, but it obviously pretty nasty deviation of that prior weekly value area high. And if it loses 3.7, 3.6, that probably was the top for a while. Probably goes back down to like sub 0.3. What do you think about it, Dave? In London, hireable Lime scooters top out at 12.5 miles per hour. That means if you rode one round the London Marathon course at top speed, never braking or backing off, by the time you'd finish, you'd be more than a mile behind him. Yeah, it's mental. That's what I'm saying. Like, most people, I put a tweet out yesterday, like most people could physically not cycle that fast for that long. Like, your average person probably couldn't cycle that fast for that long, which is mad considering they're on like a bike, you know. Market structure expert and VWAP and Z score. Aficionado. How do you say that? Oh, just amateur in Spanish. I actually didn't talk about the Genius plan. Yeah, so like overall, I do think that Genius can be a good buy. Obviously, you can see I've got some buy signals down here, but like I said at the start of the stream, I don't often take a position in the first 12 hours, and especially like buy signals, they are kind of invalid to me in the first 12 hours of trading. But this was the sort of region I was looking for a long under, at least like maybe a sweep under these lows. would be nice, obviously. So yeah, like I'll go to my watch list, and now we can see Ape. I was looking at long in this last week. See, this was another one of them, right? I wanted to long Ape here into 0.11, and my area just got front run, and I mean, it bounced almost 300%. So yeah, that was my trade for last week, and the trade is invalid now, so there's no reason for that coin to be on my watch list anymore. VVV, someone asked me about this last week, and I liked the look of a long into $8. I think $8 is a good place for a VVV long. So I'm going to leave that on there because the trade remains intact. Cat, again, was a coin I was looking at last week. Obviously, full retrace now. Had really nice sell signals on that, actually, on Friday night. Yeah, they were pretty clean. Good spike up. Daily gave a nice sell signal as well. 60% drop. But yeah, trade's gone, so done with that. Chip. Could potentially still have a trade on this into the prior weekly value area low here. But yeah. So I'll set some alerts into here. Potentially still a trade taken on that one. Do I still have the van? Yeah, I still got the van. He's actually going in for some work soon to have some like proper storage and stuff put in the back of it. Which I need to saw actually. What are you linking? SPX. You wanna short it here? You think it's pretty good short? What's that, like a 2-day volume block? What do you call it? Liquidity block? You wanna? Oh, I see your second man. Yeah, I think 3.6s still has to hold. Can potentially still be a long. Hyper, are you interested in 75.8k longs? Yeah, let's actually discuss my BTC plan, and then we'll take a look at some alts because I don't think I've actually really discussed the BTC plan. 75.8. Yeah, I mean the level to hold right now is obviously around that 76k mark. That is the important level to hold on BTC. Have we got an SFP on some exchanges? Coinbase didn't sweep though. Some exchanges did. So yeah, obviously that 76k region, I think it dates back as well. Yeah, to this low here. Yeah, it's an important level. So 75.8, yeah, I mean, it does make sense to try and go long into 75.8. That is the level to hold to BTC. If BTC was failing to hold sort of 76k this week, there's a good chance, I think, this is looking like a pretty gnarly deviation. we probably take out some of these lows into 73, and even at that point, you know, this gets a little bit scary. Start to deviate under 76k. Like this sort of gets a little bit scary, and you know, you have to view it as almost like this range again, right? Let's see value wise. So 70, 75, we have the prior quarterly view up. Obviously, the developing monthly and quarterly value area high right now has been a place to keep your eye on. We can see, you know, there's been a couple attempts where BTC has attempted to break down into below that prior, that developing monthly and quarterly value area high, and you can see it sort of broken back above it and then legged up and made a new high. So that is definitely the area that we need to be watching, like 77k this week. So basically, like anywhere from 77 down to 76 is definitely the place where you're going to be wanting to look to hold. And like I said, deviation under there, that's when it gets ugly. So I don't think you're necessarily wrong in looking for a long into 75.8. That's kind of the last place I would be willing to long, because under there it does start to get a little bit ugly. I mean, I don't really like these lows, but you can't have it all, can you? The only thing right now is outside of the weekly, right? You know, the trend it does look like we're in a pretty strong trend on BTC, right? We are sort of legging up. We're making that higher highs and higher lows. We're trading outside of the developing monthly and quarterly value area high, right? We're also trading above the prior quarterly view up. So realistically, you know, our next area of interest is the prior quarterly value area high. And equally, we're trading above that developing yearly view up, which realistically in the next level of interest is going to be these two levels here, the 2024 value area high and the developing yearly value area high. So from a trend standpoint, it does make sense that we start to look for continuation. But we are definitely seeing some exhaustion up here. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the moves are getting shut down pretty fast. And we're getting that deviation, which I discussed at the start of the stream, right? We're getting that sort of deviation on the Z score with price going up. Like, there's definitely signs of exhaustion. Like 81 to 85 was the level that everyone was looking at. So, you know, for that to get front run could be, you know, could be the play in terms of where we start to sell off, right? I was kind of on board with the fact that if we were getting above 81 and 84, this was going to be going back to 100. That's kind of my thought process here. Is that, like, if we start to leg up into 81 to 84, we pretty much probably overshoot that area and go to 100. So the idea of maybe stalling before that area, if this trend is like truly bearish, right? If we are just gonna make a lower high here on the higher time frame on the weekly structure, if this does end up being a lower high, right here, and legging down into the 60s, low 60s again, then it could be a possibility that we front run the level that everyone thinks that we're going. You know, does that make sense? Outside of all that fucking nonsense and what I was just saying, I think, yeah, 76 is the level to hold for bulls this week. If you get an opportunity to long into 76 or as close to 76k this week, and you get a good trigger for a long, then it seems like a pretty good a place to step in and try and get some exposure. Poor low from Wednesday and naked POC below. Weekly TPO is clean. My thoughts is, as long as we hold the prior quarterly view up, we should be targeting the prior quarterly value, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of what I was saying, right? In terms of the trend right now, you know, the next level of interest, as long as we are trading in this sort of imbalanced environment, the next sort of level of interest is going to be that prior quarterly value high. You know, we start to stall this week, we start to show some weakness, we start to accept back below that developing monthly and quarterly value are high, maybe we struggle to hold 76k in the prior quarterly view up. That's when things start to get a little bit concerning, right? Kind of like a failed, that would be like a failed break, right? A failed auction into this above value. So, until then, yeah, I think it's the right play to look for a long into 76. I think ETH can like really sell off. Like as soon as we start to lose 2300 on ETH, you know, I should get a decent move on my short and go flat. Obviously, you can basically see like this level I marked out here for the past 2 weeks almost is that big point of control. So it's quite a difficult place. You basically see like when you have a range and you have a point of control, this almost acts as like a magnet point, right? If you draw a range, right, through this area, basically see that, you know, that's the value arrow high, value arrow low. Every time we've broken out from this value, it's failed. The next stop has basically been drawn back to this point of control. Breakout, point of control, consolidates. We got a breakout, back to the point of control, consolidates, breakout, back to the point of control. It's just a lot of volume being done into this 2300 area. So to break it is going to be difficult, and obviously we need that weakness from BTC, which will come under 76k. Like the weakness will come under 76k. So all right, what's the minus of swarms? First coin. Looking at this morning. Pretty aggressive trend as of right now. ETH time next period. ETH is very weak at the moment. So what's the best way to size positions? What do you mean by that? Like, you mean like how to know when to size up? Or do you mean like how to get into larger positions, like in terms of getting filled? Yes, or slows down based on what type of trade. Well, that really depends on like your thought process and your trading, right? Like I have a set of rules that I'll go into a trade with, right? And often the rules is like a checklist, and it doesn't necessarily mean that every time I take a trade I have to have the exact same rules, because you know, not everything will be perfect. But often I'll take the same risk in every trade, unless there's one trade that, you know, I do like, but maybe one or two things off my checklist is missing. Then I will downsize a bit, right? So I won't be as convinced in that play, but often keeping like risk pretty consistent is important, right? And sizing up like really only comes when maybe like conditions are worth it. Like, let's take, actually, like my past 4 weeks of trading is actually a really good example, right? Because in March I had a really good month. Like March was like a fantastic month for my futures account, right? And towards like, I mean, even towards the end of March, my P&L curve started to really like ramp up. Yeah. So this was like, let's say this was March, right? March, then April. Go to April. That's my. And so once we went into March, then we went into April, and my sort of system started to fluctuate a bit. I wasn't really going anywhere, and then my past 2 weeks have been pretty shocking, right? Like I had a pretty poor past 2 weeks, and my P&L curve like has decreased, right? And with that, this could have easily been, you know, something far more catastrophic, because let's say I went through March, right, and felt essentially invisible, right, which is often can be very possible. And then I went into April, and I thought, well, fuck me, like last 3 weeks is great. Let's really up my risk. So let's say I went from, you know, a 1.5% risk on a trade to opening in the month in April to 3% risk, and all of a sudden, you know, my system isn't working as well, but I've doubled my risk. You know, and I think often this jump in the wrong situation can really hurt your account, because often you can end up worse than what you started, right? Like, and I always believe that consistency is like necessarily like always key in most scenarios, because I still stand to this day that I probably would have lost majority of my March profits if I hadn't if I had upped my risk, just because of the reason that I was feeling pretty good with the trading, and I thought I was essentially invisible. Like I could have easily upped my risk. And then I've really, like, towards the end of April, I've basically minimized the amount of trades I've been taking, simply because the way I have been trading hasn't been working out as it was back in March, and it's important to notice that, right? So I just thought, like, I was just losing pretty consistently. I was like, all right, I'll just stop trading, like stop throwing money down the drain, essentially, right? So I think consistency is pretty key, and there's very few scenarios where you up your risk. At least, you know, something JD always said, and I think it was either GCR or Asaka either said, like, you often find as the market will trend, right? Right. Often as a market will trend, right? And leg up or leg down. Often this more happens in an increasing market, right? You'll find that people love to increase their risk with the market, right? And the higher the market gets, the higher the people like to increase their risk. When realistically it should be opposed, right? As the market gets into especially this sort of territory, right? Especially starting to like think about it, like we're getting 33% off the lows on BTC, which sure is it's not amazing, but you know we are moving into pretty risky territories. You'll find that people will start to increase their risk up here. For what reason? I don't know. Psychological reasons, maybe because market's gone up a lot. They think it's going to go up more. They think it's going to break out, right? When really, as the market would increase, you want to start like decreasing that risk, right? And doing the inverse of what the trend is doing, right? And obviously, like the plan is that you can catch the low, and this is the point in which you will up your risk, right? Where you have like more risk into here, rather than like not really risking much, and it's like, oh, we're now trading at like 80k. Okay, I'm gonna risk like start risking like 5% on my trades, right? Like this is where people will go wrong. So just remember, like, yeah, as the market is increasing, like in most scenarios, you want to decrease the risk you're taking. I don't know if that helped you or whatever, but hi Mad Snout, how are we doing? I'm not a cat man, I'm a raccoon. What the fuck? I don't know how much longer I'm gonna hold this ETH short for. It's just more ag holding this than fucking trade. You long T-Rex? James, is that your alt? It's your alt, isn't it? Finish my coffee. It's cold now. Am I trading of assets? I'm doing a little bit, like in stocks and stuff, but yeah, back in February I set up like a stocks and shares ISA, and then when I done that, I bought some stocks as well, which is when I done my AMD. It's pretty mental. I don't know why I didn't do it a while ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, and even like I know it's near term, but I'm gonna probably I'm just adding to this monthly now. Unless there's some sort of black swan. I guess we add more at some point. If we're looking mad week versus stocks at all-time high. Yeah, I mean, yeah, crypto has just been super weak against stocks. It's been pretty depressing. I mean, what's going to be more depressing is if I don't get my field into 64k on my spot. Like like my concept of making a new all-time high in November is still completely on the table. I just struggle to sit here and talk about it when like I didn't get filled on my position into 64k. Which is what I was saying earlier, right? When I said that I believe that if we start getting to the 84k region, we completely blow through the 80s and we catch a lot of people off guard. But there's this, you know, outside of just like predictions and this, like I'll always be down to earth and believe that, like, you know, this is my higher time frame plan. I believe that we can make it all-time high in November, but I'm not like gonna sell you the dream and say that it will just be as easy as that when it's not, outside of like what's happening in the world. You know, they'll always have much larger effects on the price action. And yeah, it's a bit mental. I was looking at buying Netflix into the 90s. If we can get a sweep into 90 on Netflix, I really like that. So I'm keeping an eye on that. I was looking at Tesla, but I'm not really that interested in it anymore. I still believe that silver could get some sort of leg up in the near future, but not until after some more consolidation, probably through summer. I'm keeping an eye on silver to pick up some. You know, like the market doesn't owe us anything, but when you look at every single other asset that has performed in the past 6 to 12 months, and then you look at like BTC, you know, it's it only makes you think that rotation could come at some point, right? Like, at what point do people start to get FOMO again? And I believe it happens into the 80s. If we can get into the 80s, I believe that we could see some FOMO start to come back into the market. Which is why I sort of agree that 76, if we can get 76k this week, I will try along. I should get a nice buy on the weekly view up as well. And validation will be under 75k. Should be pretty simple. We just, you know, something along the lines of this. Target 84, right? We have a big volume gap above. Like, there's a big gap above here. You know, we sort of long into 76, target 84, and even if we start to flip 84, then I really start to entertain the idea of going back to all-time high on BT. Justin Sun versus World Finance. Yeah. You see a world where Bitcoin can grind up while the Nasdaq and SPY are correcting. Best case scenario, as I see it, is like a chop range, like 22, 20. Let's have a look. It's PT2. Like, yeah, if we start to flip like 81, you know, in my opinion, we're going into the 95s on BTC. '22, '23 chop, you mean? Yeah, I mean, there's not really been an occasion, right, where BTC has not corrected when the S&P has, right? Like maybe minor intraday moves, but overall, like they've gone pretty hand in hand. Time for you need to long and top the market. It's weird. Market's been weird. Like it's a weird point in the market. Like, all right, let's take a look at some scams. See if there's anything we can take or anything we can keep an eye on for the week, and then I'll wrap it up. Yeah, that was a pretty nice exchange short overnight into 7. But rates played out now. Velvet has problem is with these coins, some of these are just like super illiquid, like there's not enough volume in them to trade them really, especially for the Discord. Crypto normally front runs the S&P, right? I think so, but I wouldn't like hold me to that. It's just like Bitcoin is way more volatile, isn't it? Like yeah, if you are new here, you can click the link that was just shared in the channel. So I post daily thoughts and write-ups and trades and streaming most days of the week as well, where you'll find me spending most of my time. Because I'm not sure what I would do with that. I often ride my bike. TRX. What's it say? They long TRX. Kind of like the idea of looking for some continuation longs on a few things. Not swarms. This is a little bit too overextended. Maybe a bit of a long way off, but I mean, if it breaks here, it could really leg up. 0.5-ish. What's the flow look like on this? That's bid. That bid on it. OCRL looking close to the bottom. Cool. As in the stock, right? Pre-market is down. Maybe 167. 167 to 165 for a bounce on it. Quite like that. It's reclaimed the prior yearly value area low. Possible. 167. I'll let this to my watch list. Yeah, I'd keep an eye on it into 167. Genius. I keep an eye on Genius this week. Maybe one more drive. I did want to buy under these lows, that's the thing. Sweep under 5.5, I think it was. So I'll keep... It's down today. Lido down 14%. Seeing if there's some buy signals on things. On like the weekly or monthly VWAP. Odd, but like what the is Rave still alive? What's Rave doing? Not really. All right, an hour and 20 minutes. I will I'll call that stream. It's Monday, so there's not too much to do, but I'll try and focus on getting some midweek and afternoon streams where New York is open and price action is a little bit more interesting. Yeah, thank you if you stop by. Obviously check out the links in the description and things like that. You haven't done something already. If you are in Discord, see you about today. We'll get some thoughts sent in there shortly. And yeah, if you missed the stream, you can go to my YouTube and watch the VOD back. It will be on there. You can watch back my thoughts. Yeah, let's have a good week. Hopefully get some good trades out. I'm going to be on my A game this week for these scab setups because there's a lot going on at the moment, especially in the continuation ballpark. Pretty consistently getting some nice moves up on these scams, so hopefully catch a couple. Right, see you guys around. Bye bye.